Reaching net zero by 2050 is a collective action.
The rules need to be followed, and so we accept all of the recommendations of the Auditor General's report, and we encourage all public servants to adhere to them.
Their goal is just to get more money in their pockets.
The government is taking out, and it could go to their own pockets too.
You going to have electric airplanes?
It's a business. There's the climate change business, and this is part of the climate change business.
Then maybe the elite should cut down on their private planes.
Sarah Stock for Rebel News in Toronto, Ontario. We just attended the Canada Green Building Council's annual conference, where President of the Treasury Board of Canada, Anita Anand, gave a special announcement regarding the federal government's plans to reach their net zero carbon emissions goal by the year 2050. Check out what she had to say.
The transition to a low carbon economy is fundamental to the policies that we are examining and implementing at the Treasury Board of Canada. Reaching net zero by 2050 is a collective action approach and issue, and unless we all play our part, those goals are going to be more difficult to achieve. Crown corporations are now expected to align with the strategy's commitment to net zero emissions by 2050 and to be climate resilient in their operations. We are going to make sure that in the acquisitions of fleets, in aircraft, in marine vessels, in tactical land vehicles, that greenhouse gas emissions reductions targets are in place, and also on an interim basis.
I confronted Minister Anand about this directly by asking her how we can possibly trust the Liberal government to ethically oversee their own operations. Sarah Stock for Rebel News. The Globe and Mail reports that the government is breaking its own laws by giving huge contracts to Liberal insiders like McKinsey without an open tendering contest. Will you call in the RCMP fraud investigators, or do you expect Canadians to trust the Liberals to investigate the Liberals giving cash to Liberals?
The work of the Auditor General is extremely important. She provided a report this week which outlined a number of recommendations, and she specifically said that the rules that are in place are sufficient. The rules need to be followed, and so we accept all of the recommendations of the Auditor General's report, and we encourage all public servants to adhere to them. And I will say that as President of the Treasury Board and the Minister that is responsible for promulgating the rules and the policies and directives, I underscore with a double underliner how important it is for public servants to adhere to the rules that we have in place. Thank you.
Now we're at Nathan Phillips Square in downtown Toronto, where we're going to talk to some average, everyday Torontonians to find out what they think about these net zero policies. Are they really here to benefit Canadians, or are they there to benefit the politicians who may be using them just to line their own pockets? So the government's saying that we're going to be able to reach net zero carbon emissions by 2050. What do you think about that?
I think that's BS.
It's all conspiracy. It's all lie. Yeah, if we want to really cut down on climate change, then maybe the elite should cut down on their private planes.
Good luck. I think we're not ready, yeah.
You don't think it's possible?
Oh, I think it's going to be hard.
They do what they want, and the taxpayers are just like, hey, you know, they want something else, and they get all up in a riot, and that's it, right?
What do you think about that?
That'd be wonderful, you can.
Agreed, yes. We look to countries like Canada to be leaders.
Government likes to tell a lot of lies.
Oh, yeah? Well, why do you think they would lie about that? Who's benefiting off that lie?
They are taking our tax-paying money.
2050, I would agree with that.
How do you think that's possible? For instance, the planes we fly on to get from country to country, these cause a lot of carbon emissions. So how would we reach net zero? Would we have to just stop flying?
Again, this is a good question. Government has to do something about it too, like a G7 or G10, whatever you call it. They have to gather it all together and try to resolve this problem.
I think the idea is wonderful. I don't think it's practical. It's just net zero means a whole different way of thinking. and I don't think people are ready. I'm on board. I wish it will happen, but I don't believe it.
What do you think about that?
I think that it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen? How come?
Okay.
No, honestly, I don't know.
You don't know if it's going to happen? Okay.
I think they are smoking a lot of weed. There is not a chance that they're going to have that happen.
I think it's absolutely bullshit.
How come?
Because we have no way of gauging that, of independent carbon use and stuff like that. The carbon tax from Justin Trudeau is a scam.
According to this goal of theirs, how would we fly on planes if there's net zero carbon emissions, right?
Right. I agree. You gonna have electric airplanes?
I don't know if that's possible. I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
Just gonna not fly on planes anymore or what?
According to them, no.
Just them. They can, but
Yeah, it's the 1% of the 1% that those guys. That's them. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's all big farce.
We need to think of different ways to transport ourselves.
So it should be the taxpayers that should say, hey, this is what we want. And then we could take a legitimate vote and agree to this instead of it being the opposite way. That's how I feel.
politicians are preaching this, but then they're flying private jets all the way across the country.
They're doing just as much damage as the steel factories, so.
Any country you go, there is always corruption. So I believe that. So any money we have contributed to our, for example, our CPP, government old age plan, whatever, Canadian pension plan, everything you donate, try to put the money in, but the government's taking out, and it could go to their own pockets too. You never know.
And they're politicians. They're after votes. They're going to say the right thing as long as they don't inconvenience themselves.
So why are they pushing this climate agenda then if it's not even possible to do that?
It's to their voter base. They're just trying to keep the voter base that they have left. That's all it is. There is no way, there's no infrastructure in the planning to allow for that to happen.
Do you think anyone's economically benefiting from this at all?
Oh yes, there's lots of people on the green side who are on the payroll, so to speak, who are benefiting from this. Yes.
Yeah, different people start these new green business initiatives and they get grants from the government.
Yeah.
It's money in the pockets.
It's a business. There's the climate change business, and this is part of the climate change business.
Their goal is just to get more money in their pockets. Bottom line. That's what it is. That's all it is. They want their money.
Yeah, they're definitely going to intrude more in our personal lives, and that's something that goes against our freedoms of being Canadian, and I'm not for that at all.
If you want to put an end to the globalist elite's insane climate agenda, and you want to fund our reporting so we can continue to tell you the other side of the story on this subject, please head over and sign our petition at nogreenreset.com.